everybody. Hope you're all doing well on this beautiful Friday. It's me, Anna, your host from last week. I just brought my glasses this time because turns out I couldn't really see any of your comments last time. So hopefully I'll be able to help you out a little bit better this week with your questions. Last week we were at Pom Pom. This week we are actually here at Restoratives Distillery in beautiful Ivy City, DC. Right now we are in the Ivy Room, which is the tasting room for the distillery. Normally operates to the public Thursday through Sunday. We do tours here, private events, people come and get cocktails. Right now we are closed to the public. And this room has actually turned into basically the operations center for everything that the distillery is currently doing. So for those of you who aren't familiar, given what was happening with the coronavirus, we sort of switched up what we were doing. We're now offering at-home delivery of our bottles here in DC. We're also allowing people to come pick up here at the distillery. We're here 9 to 5 every day of the week. Hi, Ashley. A couple of people who actually used to previously work in the Ivy Room have tuned in. Good to see you. Miss you very much. But with all of those purchases, we are providing hand sanitizer, which we are making here at the distillery. I'm going to walk you around in just a second. But basically what's happening is we knew that we had the resources to start producing hand sanitizer here. We got hooked up with some recipes from the World Health Organization, started producing it. We're now providing it free with all of the purchases. And you may have heard in the news this week that we are also now working to supply it to the DC government to make sure that all of our incredible first responders here in DC and all of the agencies who are in desperate need of hand sanitizer now have it. So really grateful for all the work that the DC government is doing, and honestly just grateful for everyone who has bought a bottle, come to the distillery, wish us well over this last week and a half or so since things got really bad. I don't think it's a secret that things are really hard for the food and beverage industry right now. And so just from the bottom of our hearts, we're so grateful for everyone who has supported us recently. So really quickly, before we get to our awesome cocktail class tonight, just want to kind of show you around the distillery. For those of you who have been here before, it's gonna look a little bit different. So this is the bar. Behind me, you'll see that's a cart where all of the bottles are for sale here on site or for people who are coming to pick up. We now have a little station here. I'm gonna flip this around really quickly. So when you walk in, this is what you see. A lot of times it's me just hanging out right here, and you just come in, let us know who you are, we'll get it bagged up for you. All of our products are available right now, so vodka, apple brandy, bourbon, rye, and then this neat thing, which is a bottled cocktail. It drinks similar to an old fashioned. And then every order comes with one of these, some hand sanitizer to keep you safe out there. So that's kind of what's happening in the bar. I'm gonna take you onto the distillery floor really quickly so you can see how things have changed in here. So in the good old days, these would be active all week long, turning out some delicious whiskey, vodka, apple brandy for you. For the most part, that has halted so that we can produce hand sanitizer for you. All of this here in the middle, you can see it's kind of upside down, but these stickers say, "We are Washington, DC." This is the hand sanitizer that, like I said, is going to be going out to the DC government. So for the most part, everything happening in here right now is hand sanitizer productions, which is super weird, but also really important right now. So we're just really grateful that we can be a part of providing that to the community. But onto the fun stuff, the reason that we're here. So we've started doing these weekly cocktail classes. They're featuring local bartenders who are currently out of work and still really amazing at making cocktails and want to help all of you who are at home and making cocktails with whatever you have. So the way that it works is every week, different bartender. We are creating a discount code, which this week you can find in our Instagram. It's Andrea327. I'll be posting it later. But if you use that code, you'll get 10% off of any bottles that you purchase. And we're actually going to match that 10% off with a donation to whomever the bartender is, or the business, or whoever it is that we're working with. But we're going to match that because we want to make sure that we're supporting our awesome partners in food and beverage who really are the lifeblood of this distillery. And in addition to that, we're going to be encouraging you to support the bartenders. We're going to tell you how you can tip them virtually. This week, I will be posting a GoFundMe for Silver Lyan, amazing cocktail bar here in DC. And we'll encourage you all to send some virtual tips their way. That bar team is all out of work, just like ours right now. So since you're going to be getting some sweet knowledge, please do consider sending over a few dollars if you're able. I know a lot of us haven't been going out to eat or to the bar as much, so please do make sure to tip your bartender tonight. We are super excited for tonight's class. We have with us the president of the DC Craft Bartenders Guild, a really incredible bartender who honestly probably doesn't need this introduction. I know that a lot of you are already familiar with her. She's also was the head bartender at Silver Lyan prior to what has happened with this closure. Right now she's working on a really cool project that I know she's going to tell you about in between mixing up the cocktails, but for now I will turn it over to Andrea. Andrea, would you like to join us over here?
Hi friends. Hello. It's never good on TV. Hi, Andrea Tateosian here. Thanks for the intro, Anna. Super excited to be here at Republic Restoratives. I've been a huge supporter for a long time. I love how involved you all are in the DC community and, fighting the good fight at large. So, thanks y'all. Yes, so I was most recently employed at Silver Lyan. We had 5 weeks of training starting on January 2nd, and then we were open for 5 more weeks, and then we got shut down. So it's been a really crazy roller coaster. 2020 has been so good to all of us. But the team really came together very quickly, and I love you guys if you're watching. I love you dummies, as our team says. And yeah, so trying to keep busy, and one of the things that I've been working on, which I'll get into a little later, is called Friends and Family Meal. But for now, I do want to jump right into the good stuff. I love making cocktails at home, but a lot of the time it's dependent on me using an array of bottles that I have on my back bar, using different liqueurs, using vermouths, a lot of stuff that you might not necessarily have in your homes. So today I wanted to kind of give you a little bit more of a pantry approach to cocktails. So we're gonna start with one quick little thing for the second cocktail that I just want to start preparing now so you can get a good look. Oleo Sacrum, I'm just going to give this a peel. Ordinary lemon, actually not ordinary, this one's organic, and I'll get into that. Oleo Sacrum, it literally means sweet oils, and it's, God bless Latin. And it is a technique that bartenders have used for centuries at this point, to add flavor and sweetness to cocktails. So I love it at home because it's a way to use the lemon twice, right? For the first cocktail, we're using lemon juice. That's what's gonna happen to this guy. But I get to use all those delicious oils in the skins for my ulterior purpose of Oleo Sacrum. So we're gonna use the whole lemon here. Normally, for the mustachioed mixologists out there, yes, I normally make it by weight. However, I don't have a gram scale in my kitchen. In fact, that would be a little questionable for someone of Colombian descent. So instead, we're gonna eyeball it. We're gonna use the peels of one whole lemon plus 2 tablespoons of sugar. Oh, also, I'm not using jiggers today. I'm just using measuring spoons, and they're kind of the best. Yeah. kind of great. So per, say, peel of lemon, lime, peel of half an orange or half a grapefruit, you'll use 2 tablespoons of just regular cane sugar, and you're going to put them right in a resealable bag. And what the sugar is going to do is it is going to draw out those oils. Put that right there. And then I'm going to press it to seal and get all of that air out as much as possible. And you get your little baggie of, gotta stop with this words, of sugar and lemon peel. And basically, you'll just kind of, I'm gonna remove a little more air here. It's a little puffy. And you can just kind of mush it around, just kind of squish it. I like to do it while watching Star Trek Next Gen, catching up with Captain Picard, seeing what he's up to. But you can basically just kind of work with it for 5-10 minutes. Or you can just give it a couple initial squishes and then set it to the side, and the sugar will still naturally pull those oils. So I'm just gonna kind of do this right here while we chat other things cocktail. I do have some prepared, but I mostly just want you to see the effects of how even a couple of minutes of work in this thing will do.
And as a quick reminder, if you have any questions while Andrea is making cocktails, just send them in the comments, and we will work on responding to all of those for you, because she has a wealth of knowledge on this stuff. So ask us all your questions.
Yes. I have a wealth of knowledge of Ziploc squishing. It's true.
Squishing, very technical term.
Tote squish AF. So let's chat general cocktails right now. We're gonna be making 2, I like to think of them as, the recipes I've given are more like blueprints. You can switch things out as you see fit. And it's mostly because cocktails generally rely on balance. You want to balance your sweet with your sour, you want to balance your boozy with your non-boozy, and you want to balance your water in there too. So, sorry, you just got a text message that says, "You look super cute, your glasses are off." She does. It's true.
I guess I forgot to turn my notifications off, so please don't text me if you're watching this. I'm sure that I love you, whoever it was.
It's all good. It's all good. It's part of the show. It's part of filming live. Don't work with babies or bartenders. That's the rule. So yes, I've given 2 recipes to Anna, but we'll kind of be playing around within the parameters of those. One of them, as I said before, will be using the oleo saccharum that we make here. The other one's going to be using the lemon juice itself. So to kind of get back to the pantry-ness of this segment,
I love that.
It's a technical term, it's bartender nomenclature. I wanted, instead of sending you out to go grocery shopping, which is a terrifying enough prospect as it is without worrying about what the hell this stupid bartender is going to make you buy, I wanted to work with things that I figured were likely in your pantries already. So for the first cocktail, not the one using this, the first cocktail I'm calling a faraway sour, and it's just a simple sour cocktail build. You can substitute the base spirit. We could do it with the Barrow bourbon or Civic vodka. Today we're going to be doing it with the Barrow bourbon because we're going to be making like a nice whiskey sour riff, a little bit of lemon juice. And then I basically looked through my spice rack and picked out a couple of different spices to use in the syrup. So to make a dry herb syrup, you basically, the way that I did it was I just boiled a cup of water, put some dry rosemary in there, and I put, per cup of water, I did about like a little less than a teaspoon of dry rosemary. It wasn't rosemary powder. You want to stay away from like the pulverized stuff, like no nutmeg, no like pulverized cinnamon. because you're gonna need to strain that out later, and it just gets kind of gritty and gross. So we're talking like crushed, dried leaves, like dried basil works really well. Today, one of the ones that I did was dried rosemary. So I made a dried rosemary syrup, just brought a cup of water to a boil, a little bit less than a tablespoon of, I'm gonna watch this guy, less than a tablespoon of the dried rosemary. Once that water came to a boil, added the rosemary, brought it down to a simmer, and let it sit for, I think, like 4 or 5 minutes. And depending on the herb, depending on how intense you want it, that's gonna vary. So I basically, after 3 minutes, I put a spoon in there, let it cool, had a taste, and decided I wanted a little bit more flavor. So I let it sit a little more. You take that, you fine strain it using a tea strainer, whatever you have. If you've got a cheesecloth, you can get real fancy. You don't have to. It's not that serious. And then just measure that out and do an equal part of just regular cane sugar if you've got it at home. So pretty simple stuff. You're just making a 1-to-1 simple syrup. And yes, normally I make simple syrup by measuring it, but whatever. So I did that today with rosemary. Ooh, hang on. Other home bartending trick. These are gonna be your best friends. Label and date. Ooh, no, that's upside down. Label and date your syrups. Label and date anything you make. My kitchen looks like my fridge just looks like it's a walk-in because everything is dated, everything is labeled. You want to make sure that you're not using old gross stuff, whatever.
Yeah, also was gonna say, we don't have time for food waste right now, so just like do it for your food too. It's just a good tip.
Exactly. No food waste, see? Use the whole lemon, low food waste. Not about that today. So I did make the rosemary syrup, I gave it a date. This one will probably, I'd give this like 2 weeks, taste it, maybe longer, do not sue me. And yeah, so we're ready to make a really simple sour with this rosemary syrup. So we're gonna start with the rosemary syrup.
Someone also asked if they could use rye instead of bourbon for this drink.
Absolutely, absolutely. Rye's gonna give it a little bit more of a spice, but if you're asking if you can use rye, you probably want that spice anyway, so go to town. So we're gonna start with a tablespoon of the rosemary syrup. A tablespoon is about half an ounce. So we're gonna start with one of that. It's not about half an ounce, it's a half ounce. It's science in that case. And then we're gonna do the same, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. Now this is the fun part. We're gonna do 3 tablespoons, or 1.5 ounces, of Republic Restoratives Barrel Bourbon. And this is gonna come out just like if you like whiskey sours, if you want something a little on the refreshing side, it's gonna be right up your alley. And the good thing about the rosemary syrup is you can multi-use. You can use it in an old fashioned, and it's just gonna add a little bit of that kick, a little bit of that like slightly herbaceous kick. I didn't like overly soak the rosemary to make kind of like a bitter tea. You don't want to get all those tannins in there. I went really light on it. So you can use that. I mean, actually, you can put that in your tea. I put it in my green tea today and it was fine. So a little bit of ice. Originally, I'd really wanted to make this in an actual mason jar, but I don't have a mason jar at home. I have shaker tins at home. So,
but options.
But options. You can shake it in a mason jar. You can shake it in your protein shake weight thing. What's it called? Protein bottle.
Yeah.
Protein shake.
We work out.
If you like drinking on the rocks, if you like your cocktails on the rocks, this would be good on the rocks or up. If you're gonna do it up, just shake it a little longer, give it a little more dilution, a little more chill on it. Oh. And then this one's gonna be up, because I have an up glass right here. Give this a quick strain here. Then we have a nice little faraway sour with some Barrow bourbon, just a hint of rosemary. I'm gonna give this to you. I'm gonna go on the way back here.
Wow, this is delicious. This actually, what you were just doing reminded me of a question that I've had myself sometimes when home bartending. For people who are at home and maybe they have glassware like this, maybe they have rocks glasses or wine glasses or whatever, how should we be deciding what glassware to use for drinks?
Well, so I love glassware. I love fancy glassware. I love fun bar glassware. It just really adds to the bar experience. At home, I'll drink up drinks in a rocks glass all the time. Okay. I'll drink it in a wine glass if I feel like it.
Like, is there something about this shape that for different styles of drinks, like if you're having a sour, you should do this, or if you're having like an old fashioned, like everyone does a rocks glass, but a lot of us probably don't know why, or maybe everyone watching this like knows a lot about cocktails, but
yeah, I mean, this glass shape is actually really nice for an up cocktail because, as you can see, it's not that classic V shape. It's a little more rounded. So as a former cocktail server, it makes it a lot easier to walk with a tray of them without sloshing everywhere. Like in a, like a bad 80s cocktail movie, like where they're just like throwing 8-ounce cosmopolitans everywhere on their tray. So it's a lovely shape. But just like, honestly, if you're at a thrift store and you see something that you like, just get it. Drink your coffee out of it. Like, there's no wrong way to do it. There's no wrong way to drink a drink that you want to enjoy. Like,
love that.
yeah.
As someone who has served for like way too many years, are you one of those bartenders who feels like right to the brim so that carrying a tray of cocktails to a table is literally impossible?
I'm not one of those bar managers that builds cocktails so that they should go that high. So if someone makes one of the cocktails on my menu and it ends up being that high, they're not measuring it right.
They did it wrong. They messed up. All right.
They're not measuring it right. Yeah. But yeah.
Emily, shout out to Emily Filkins in the comments right now.
Birthday
our
twin!
DC sales manager. We wish you were here too. For anyone who works in the industry, you probably know Em, but she knows way more than I do about this stuff, so I wish you were here too.
Love you, birthday twin. We have the same birthday. Yeah, so that's one version of the Faraway Sour. Another one that I'm really excited about, which is another really simple take, is you can do it not just with herbs, dried herbs like basil or rosemary. You can do it with like herb mixes. You could do it with herb en Provence, which I really seriously consider doing. What I wouldn't recommend is using a seasoning. Like, I love tahini so much. I would not make a syrup with that because there's so much concentration of salt and MSG in there, which is why I love it, but just not necessarily for a cocktail. So like Italian seasoning, I maybe would use like the oregano and thyme and parsley and leave out all the salt. But another way to do it is using whole spices. So I made a coriander syrup as well. Note the date. And when I'm making a spice syrup, what I usually like to do is basically the same process, except I start by putting the pan on like medium high, and then I will, once the pan's nice and hot, I'll toss the the spices directly in there. So like the little coriander seeds, whole allspice, works with cinnamon sticks, anything like that. And it basically just gives it a little toast. You do that for maybe a minute, just kind of shake it around in there, let it toast, let those aromas really come out, and then add club soda. And then add the water, let it come to a boil. With that, you don't have to worry about like the tannins coming out. Like, you don't want to toast rosemary really before you do that because it'll get real bitter real fast. But a quick toast on some cinnamon or coriander, wow, it's great.
Quick question. Well, actually, one quick comment. Apparently, LP was outside and tried to say hi creepily.
Oh my god. Stalker.
So we missed that. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, LP.
And then
Stop. Why are you so obsessed with me?
someone asked about making lavender syrup and your like recommendation.
Awesome. So that depends on if you have like fresh lavender. Lavender grows everywhere in DC, especially this time of year. It's starting to pop up. So if you have lavender in your backyard and you're using it, I actually prefer to use dry flowers. It just gets a little more consistent that way. And use it like a tea. Again, basically what we're making before we add the syrup is an herb tea, which will get me to our next drink. That's perfect. But yeah, you can absolutely do it with dried lavender or jasmine, dried mint. Dried mint in cocktails is awesome too. But for our next cocktail, let's bring back Mr. Olio. So you can't really tell unless you're looking super close, but you can see that there's a little bit more yellow tint to the sugar. And that some of it has started like breaking down and getting a little bit more syrupy. I'm not going to be using this one because I made some already. We're going to do this like a cooking show where I put it in the oven and like do, and now it's ready. But basically you would take this, squish it a little bit more. This like definitely needs a little more love or a little more time. And the same amount of sugar that you put in originally, you would match that with hot water, not boiling water. This bag will melt if you use boiling water. Do not sue me.
General disclaimer.
General disclaimer. This is not legal advice. At the very end of this, there's going to be like the long list of side effects. Like
everyone will just hit they agree.
Yeah.
When you get the terms and conditions.
Andrea Tateosian cannot be sued for loss of limb, life, or otherwise. Yes, we'll do that. Anyway, we'll add the same amount of water that you did sugar, and then just work it in there so that the sugar gets completely dissolved, and then strain it out, and you will have this. This is actually a mixed citrus oleo because my partner wanted margaritas the other night, so I peeled the limes first and then juiced them. So there's a little bit of lime peel in here, a little bit of lemon. Hard to go wrong. You're gonna get those flavors. You're not gonna get the sourness. You're not gonna get that citric acid component. So like, it's gonna make a flavor difference if you use grapefruit. Of course, it's gonna taste like grapefruit, but sugar-wise, you're not like gonna overpower it with sour flavors by using lemon, if that makes sense. So anyway, we will get to our second cocktail. This one is gonna be called Stoop Baby because why not?
Is that a Stoop Kid if we're doing Stoop reference?
No, it's not a Stoop. It's kind of a Stoop Kid reference, but it's mostly a Shoop reference. Like, you don't want to say I want a Stoop Baby because that sounds like insensitive to the elderly possibly, so you just don't want to do that. But yeah, it's more like I want a Stoop Baby.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the mixed citrus oleo. We're gonna do a half an ounce or 1 tablespoon, and we're just gonna build this right in the glass. There's not too much needs to happen here. And then this one we're gonna use Civic vodka. And we're gonna do 1.5 ounces or 3 tablespoons. And because this oleo has kind of been sitting for a couple of days, I made it a couple of days ago and haven't used it a ton, there's still a little bit of sugar that reincorporated, so I'm just gonna give it a quick stir. And then I made some green tea and brought it here and threw it in the fridge, and actually forgot that I did that and ran around looking for my green tea everywhere. So that was fun and dignified. So for this one, we're gonna add 2 ounces of green tea. So just whatever green tea you have at home, just make it as you would normally, and then let it cool. When you're making a tea or a syrup at home and you're not going to use it immediately, best practice is to let it come to a cool, like maybe keep the top like slightly off or not completely sealed before you put it in your fridge. So like let it sit out for a little bit, let it come to like closer to room temperature before it goes in the fridge. So we've got our green tea, we've got our mixed oleo, and then you can jazz it up. I'm throwing in a couple of dashes of orange. Oh, holy cannoli!
Ooh, ooh.
You know, that happens. Oh, God.
Sorry.
I love live television. Excuse me, I'm just gonna go ahead, clean this up. I brought enough oleo. I blame Emily.
And some things
Fully blame Emily.
Things
Blaming
are just
Emily.
weird right now. Everybody
100%. No. Sabotage. Is this why you brought me out here? To make fun of me?
Great. The
This is
recovery
great.
has been 10 out of 10.
Fantastic. So let's try this again. We're gonna do the green tea. Again, 4 tablespoons. This is absurd. 1 tablespoon of the oleo sagrum. That was grand. You know, that's happened to, this is not the first time that happened. So a lot of bars will now move bitters from like these branded bottles to like the cool, like rocket ship looking guys.
Yeah, we did that, but then we got rid of them.
Yeah, you did.
Because our bar is closed, Andrea.
Yep, you sure did. And fun story, I was at Tales of the Cocktail, which is an industry, like a bar, specifically beverage related conference in New Orleans. And I was there doing the apprentice program, where you basically get shown the ropes on how to like put on a seminar, how to do tastings for 150 people, all of that fun stuff. And one of the presenters of a really big seminar wanted to make a pink gin himself on stage, and he was wearing a white suit, and someone had batched bitters into a different cocktail, and it was Angostura. Anyone familiar with the color of Angostura? Looks like death blood. Yeah, he splashed that into a mixing glass and got it all over his white suit. And
So tragic.
yeah, it sucks, but it was Simon Ford. He probably deserved it. All right, we've got green tea in there. Now, knowing what we know about this particular bitters bottle, I'm actually just gonna put a couple of drops in the cap, because that will be a little bit more manageable. But this doesn't have to have bitters in it. This is just making it a little bit more amped up, just bringing out a little bit more layered citrus in there. So that's about 2 dashes. Son of a bitch. And then from here, work with what you got. You can top it with tonic. I actually would love this with tonic, or club soda, or just more green tea, or have it as is. I am going to just do a little bit of club soda to lengthen it, because we have that here, but use what you got. If you have an open bottle of champagne, it would be lovely. If it's about to go flat, definitely use the champagne.
Champagne if you fancy. Champagne if you fancy.
Champagne if you're unemployed. No, not really. That'd be the best kind of unemployed. Too soon. Do this a quick little stir and incorporate everything. And bam, this is the stoop, baby. I want to drink this on a stoop right now. But yeah, just real refreshing for you if you want to give her a whirl.
This is a fake job, because I just get to come and drink
It really is.
drinks from like the best bartender in DC.
And sabotage her. Yes, you get to do all those things. It's great. It's awesome.
This is awesome. The green tea is like so nice. This is really delicious, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks. Sorry about the bitters.
It's okay. It's okay.
For reference, for all of you who aren't here,
I'll remember this, Pia.
So normally this is a bar that's open to the public, and we do have those fancy rocket ship glasses. That is also a very technical bartender term, the rocket ship bitter glasses. So that's what our orange bitters would normally be in, and I forgot, and just gave Andrea this, which ended terribly. Sorry.
It's fine, we're friends. I'll remember this.
But yeah, so these have
Yeah.
been delicious. Wanted to talk a little bit more. You mentioned earlier that you like spent today bagging groceries.
Yes.
And obviously you're not at Silver Lyan right now. Well, maybe you are at Silver Lyan, but in a different capacity. I think everyone would love to hear more about this. So
Curiouser and curiouser.
yeah.
Just layers. So I'm gonna make myself one of those because it does look kind of great. So when Silver Lyan was closed, the general manager, Morgan Stana, and her partner actually started a charity for industry workers. And that charity, so a little background, Morgan used to work at the Line Hotel. She wore many hats at Arake's Progress, but she ended up working with a lot of local farmers and made a ton of connections. And kind of some of the unsung victims of this crisis are local farms. You know, restaurants are closed; they're not selling their product, and so there's this like interesting intersection, like Venn diagram of needs, where these farms are sitting on all this produce, and there's no one to buy it. So she and her partner Mike Alves started Friends and Family Meal. So Friends and Family Meal, friendsandfamilymeal.com is a charity that takes donations, uses it to purchase bulk produce from local farms, and then turns around, takes that produce, bags it up and distributes it to out-of-work hospitality workers here in DC. So if you work in a hotel, if you're a dishwasher, if you're a bartender, if you are a manager who got laid off, it's a scary time, and it's really cool to be a part of this. So I've been volunteering with them, just kind of showing off, acting a fool, and washing my hands and bagging some groceries. It's been pretty fun. To my crazy bartender mind, it's very, very much similar to what I do every day, which is spend time methodically cutting garnishes. So spending time methodically bagging rice just really works for me. And it's nice to know that that we can make even just a small difference. It is an essential service, so we will be continuing this. Right now, we're operating with the cooperation and assistance of several other places in DC. So HQ right now is Silver Lyan, just for us actually, you know, as kind of our production hub. But we are doing distribution from Succotash, from the Line Hotel, and it's all volunteer based. And so show up, glove up, mask up, and and just put the stuff together. We do have special bags that we'll put together for families. So like if a restaurant has a ton of Frosted Flakes that they know they're not going to use, we'll take that, we'll rebag it, and we'll throw it in for the kids. It's been pretty cool. The response from the community has been amazing, but we do operate off of donations primarily. A lot of restaurants and bars have been super helpful with this. But yes, so you can donate at friendsandfamilymeal.com.
Someone wants to know where can they show up to help? Or are you taking volunteers, I guess? Because right now is kind of a weird time for volunteers.
Yeah, that's an awesome question, and thank you so much. Right now we have a little bit of a more contained team for, kind of our own health, for the health of the people who are grabbing these bags. So it's a really small operation, honestly. It's maybe like on the daily, maybe 5 people. But then we have like 10 people who come in throughout the week. There's not like a ton of work to be done in terms of like volunteer, but I really appreciate that. It like I said, the response from the community has been fucking amazing. And so, yeah, I'll just cheers to that on that note, because
I'm not holding my drink.
that's okay. I wouldn't clink it if you did.
Oh,
social distance, girl.
We're doing it. This is 6 feet for sure.
This is 6 feet. We're both extremely tall. So you can't see it from there. We're both 8 feet tall, so this is 6 feet in between us.
For people who, thank you, Emily, because the link was hard to read earlier. It's not Food and Friends, it's Friends and Family Meal. So listen to Emily, because like I said, she just knows way more about everything than I do. But yeah, some people who like maybe want to volunteer and can't, but if they have product, are there like times of the week that y'all are taking donations, something like that? Like we're gonna be dropping off, I don't know, 7 cases of produce that were just like excess for our bar that we were going to use to make cocktails for the public, and then we closed, so we just have all this excess lemons and limes and oranges, so we'll be giving those to Friends and Family Meal. If people have stuff like that, can they just drop it off whenever, certain times?
So, because we are, because we're really small, volunteer-based, we don't necessarily have like drop-off points. Again, it's super, like I've definitely carried things on my Vespa from one place to another, and a couple of us have cars, so we usually go to the bars or restaurants or hotels to pick up the food, but we do have the local farms do deliver directly to us.
Awesome.
Yeah. But thanks for the citrus donation.
Yeah, totally. Obviously,
fuck coronavirus and fuck scurvy too.
Yeah, so, all of that.
All of that. Super important.
Everything sucks. But one thing that I did want to say that has been really amazing to watch, probably not the people who are tuning into this, but as a general rule, sometimes like people seem to have like this idea about who the service industry is and like the type of people that work in the service industry, and maybe like look down on it because it's like a tipped job or something. And I have never seen a group of people react as graciously to like really, really tough circumstances as I have seen pretty much every bartender, server, line cook, executive chef, like literally everyone that I know in the industry has responded with so much grace to what's happening right now. Yeah. And I think like what Andrea is doing with Friends and Family Meal is such a good example of that. So please check it out and support. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send those our way, because we'll be here, for another 10 minutes or so.
A little while longer. Yeah. No, I've been super inspired by what Morgan and Mike have put together in such a short amount of time. They started a 501c3, just there's a need, we know how to fill it, let's do it, which is fantastic.
Someone is also asking, it's actually Emily, but not a Venmo for the Silver Lyan Team, but for those of you who have tuned in later, since we talked about this, I'm going to post the link again, but there's actually a GoFundMe for the Silver Lyan Team. So if you just go on to GoFundMe, you can literally just search for Help the Silver Lyan Team. I'm going to post the link again right now, but make sure that you tip your bartender for tonight's super free cocktail class.
Yes, that you hopefully will replicate as best you can. Again, those cocktails, I put them together so that you can make them with what you have. If you don't have green tea, use mint tea, use lemongrass, use ginger tea, like have fun with it. It's gonna be kind of hard to fuck it up. That's the good thing about these cocktails. They're real simple, but it's a great way to like zhuzh up a standard like whiskey sour or a standard like boozy lemonade or something.
Yeah. One thing that I would be interested, for those of you who are watching, I've seen a lot of my friends posting drinks that they're making at home, stuff like that. So if you like leave a little comment, tell us what you're drinking at home, and maybe Andrea will have some tips for you. Yeah. And also it would just be fun to like hear what you've been making at home. I know I personally have been having like a cocktail almost every night because everything sucks right now.
What do you mean? Everything's great.
Just kidding. Things are hard right now, but again, like I mentioned at the beginning, seriously just like so grateful to see how the DC community has come together during this totally crazy time. It's this industry in particular, but also just like thank you sincerely for everyone who has placed an order for any bottle through us. You are literally like helping keep people employed in your community. So thank you so much.
Finger guns, because we're not high-fiving. Yeah, it's amazing, and it's actually kind of depressing. Because as an industry, we're so used to circling the wagons because most of us are uninsured. Most of us don't have a safety net. Society is not built for night workers like us. Like we have to Uber home for our safety. We have to spend $20, $30 on an Uber just to get home from work because the metro's not open, because we are on the fringe of society. It's super intriguing to a lot of people, but the reality for us is tough, and so we're used to taking care of our own. Friends and Family Meal, my involvement is mostly out of like desperation on my part to do something, because my normal remedies for if something's happening in the industry, if someone gets hurt or there's a hurricane or bartenders are out of work, my normal remedy is bringing people together and doing events and bringing brands together and raising money that way. And so
that's like such a mean thing about this disease. Like,
no, can't bring people together, you're gonna kill them. So for me personally, it's just been incredibly jarring to have to do like a whole 180 on how to cope with it, how to work on it, how to help, and maintain sanity.
And like along those lines, maintaining sanity during these times, really hard, especially when we're isolated. So to the extent that like I know you or that you have friends in the industry, make sure that you're reaching out to each other. Isolation just makes all of the like really hard stuff about being a human even harder. So if you're struggling, make sure that you're reaching out to people and talking through it. So on a slightly lighter note, someone asked. They bought Chapman's Apple Brandy from us. Don't want to put you on the spot, but they asked for a cocktail recommendation.
Perfect.
With that. So I'm going to turn it over to the expert.
Cool.
You don't have to make one right now, but I'll bring you a bottle.
No, I mean, we could, honestly, I was thinking of making an American trilogy when I came in, and then I realized you were selling them bottled. So if you want to make it at home, it's a fucking delicious classic cocktail.
I'll give you the stuff if you want to talk about it.
I'll taco about it. American trilogy. If you want something, if you like old fashions, if you want something kind of like boozy, a little bit of a punch, like a good after dinner drink, an American trilogy is a great one. It's basically an old fashioned with rye and apple brandy as the base spirit, or as the split spirit. As the split base spirits. There we go. And then just muddling am I losing my mind? Is it brown sugar cube? It's brown sugar cube. Yep, sure is. And just, that's the cocktail. Fucking great. If you want something a little more along the lines of what we made today, I happen to go through most of my green tea, but something tells me these two will go really well together. Apple brandy and coriander I'd be really interested in too. But definitely the oleo sacrum in this would be fun. So we could do, honestly, we could substitute this in the faraway sour with the rosemary. Ooh, yeah. Let's do like a Jack Rose faraway sour moment. Yeah. Let's get weird and funky.
Let's get weird.
I'm excited because fucking apple and rosemary. We're just missing a roast suckling pig and we're good to go.
There's a local farmer who could supply that.
Yeah, local farms. Local farms, if you have any pork products that you're not using, please just email me directly. You don't have to go through Friends and Family Meal. Actually, on that note, Friends and Family Meal does provide only like vegetarian and focuses on like rice, beans, produce, those sort of like hearty things that are gonna get us through and last longer, as well as like, you know, the fresher produce that we can use. So if you have an allergy, let us know. If you are a vegan, let us know. So I'm gonna do the same spec for the faraway sour that I did before, just with the apple brandy. So Chapman's apple brandy. I hope I have enough lemon juice left. If I don't, we're gonna, yes! I didn't get to finish my song, but it's probably a good thing for all involved. And I think, I'm trying to decide if I want to do this with the coriander or rosemary. I think rosemary. Let's do that. Always go with your first instinct. So we're gonna use the rosemary syrup. Yep, so again, the specs on that were 3 tablespoons or 1.5 ounces of your base spirit, which in this case is the Chapman's apple brandy, 1 tablespoon each of lemon juice and the rosemary syrup that we talked about earlier, which is going to be 1/2 ounce each. I'm gonna do this one on the rocks. Do a quick shake. Yeah, bonus cocktail. What up? Yeah, that's what we do. I don't know where your glasses are. So we're gonna drink it out of this. Why? Because you can't do it wrong. It's okay. You're drinking at home. It's fine. You're not wearing pants. Who cares about the glass? Let's be real. No one that's watching this.
Who's to say?
Like,
you can actually tell.
I'm wearing like, these pants are kind of wearing me, to be honest, but we'll pretend. We'll pretend that y'all at home aren't like, no bra, no pants. And it looks super short because we did a short shake on this, but there is a full pour of the apple brandy in here. So, God, I fucking love that brandy, dude.
Thanks. Oh, we love it too.
What run is this? 3?
Yeah, well, this is, okay, so really quick,
guys.
really
Sorry.
quick Republic
Nerding
Restoratives moment. So this is our 2018 harvest. This is Chapman's apple brandy, America's first spirit, apple brandy. This is made with apples from a farm in Pennsylvania. A good friend of the distillery, Ben Wank. His farm produces the apples that go into this, essentially make apple wine and distill brandy from it, and it is delicious. And it makes a really good,
It's fucking dope.
whatever
It's
Andrea
so good.
just made. It also, Emily, since she is still on here, our DC sales manager, as I mentioned earlier, I know that she really likes this in hot toddies. So if you're looking for a hot drink, maybe not today because it was beautiful, but on those chilly days, makes a really, really nice hot toddy.
Throw it in your hot green tea.
Yeah,
Can't hurt.
why not? Why not?
Can't hurt. This is delightful. I mean, that is delightful. This is delightful mostly because that is. You can't get a good cocktail if 60% of it is shit. Because it's really 60% that, 20/20
Yeah.
nerding.
And also, if you don't feel like making cocktails at home, we have this available for purchase. It's called American Trilogy. This is a cocktail that we barreled here. It's rye, apple brandy, demerara syrup, orange and Angostura bitters. So it was barreled and aged right here. You literally pour it over ice. Tastes like a delicious old fashioned, but with a split base because it has that apple brandy in there. And then if you have one, put an orange peel on it. Super, super tasty, easy. So if you watch this but still don't feel like home bartending, we have that. Easy.
Yay.
Awesome. So we're coming up on an hour here, so if you have any more questions, please feel free to put them in the comments, but just gonna put out a couple of little reminders for you all. One of them, tip your bartender, Andrea. I'm going to post the link one more time before we sign off. But if you go on GoFundMe, just search for Help the Silver Lyan Team, and that's Lyan. Go on there, send a virtual tip. Literally everything that you are buying in terms of like takeout or whatever, doing virtual tip jars, tipping people on Venmo, sending things on GoFundMe, it means the world to everyone in this industry. So do that. If you want to buy a bottle over the next 2 days or so, go to the link in our bio at Republic Restoratives, and you can buy a bottle, get 10% off with the code Andrea327. That's also in the post about this class if you forget it, and I will put it in the comments too. But you'll get 10% off, and then everyone who buys a bottle using that code, we are going to match all of those purchases with a 10% donation to the Silver Lyan Team. So if you're going to buy a bottle this weekend, get some money off of it. We're going to be in quarantine for a while, so just go ahead and stock up and help the Silver Lyan Team while you're at it. Someone is asking if you can pick up a bottle tomorrow. The answer is yes. You can come right here. We are at the distillery right now. We will be here from 9 to 5, so come through. Last reminder I'll let you do is about Friends and Family Meal, just how people can support that.
So the best way to support Friends and Family Meal is by donating. The website is friendsandfamilymeal.com. No one's getting paid, no one's making any money from this. This is going directly to the farmers, which is paying for it in bulk. Se habla español on the website, so you can please send it to your back of house people. Like, this is directly to my friends in bars and restaurants. Please send this to your line cooks, send this to your dishwashers, send this to your barbacks, your just like everyone that doesn't get to be on like cool little podcasts like this. All the kind of unsung heroes of our industry. Please send that link to them. They can sign up to pick up a bag. They can sign up every day if they want. We have family bags. We have a page in Spanish. We're really trying to make not make the most of it so much as just like fucking power through it as best we can. So please send this to your teams. If you have the ability to donate, we would really appreciate it. It's a hard time for all of us, and for the most vulnerable in our industry, they're the ones that we're really trying to take care of. So we appreciate any support that we can get. And yes, please, if you could also, if you enjoyed these cocktails and you would like to leave a tip, the tips go to the pool for the entire Silver Lyan bar team. We're a small team, but half of us moved down here from New York. Moving's expensive. They moved here a month and a half ago, or 3 months ago, and only really got paid for a month and a half of that. So please help take care of my team. Team, I love you. I miss you. DC, we got this.
All right. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. The recipes for every